Good morning, Grinders. Welcome to the DFS pregame show here on RotoGrinders. I'm Jordan Cooper, aka BlenderEd, Blender HD, if you want to follow me on Twitter. And it's Tuesday, October 4th. And it's kind of a toss-up today. Toss-up Tuesday. We got, 2 days of baseball left, right? Programming note, just a programming note for people that want to know. There's going to be no pregame show tomorrow. Me and Dean will be on at 2:30 Eastern tomorrow to cover the last baseball regular season slate of the season. So you won't see a thumbnail, right? You won't show up because there won't be anything to show up to, but there'll be Grinders Live in crunch time tomorrow, and I'll be on with Dean. And I'm here. I'm here today. Toss up Tuesday. I'll answer. Stupid questions are allowed today, I think. Right. I'll be going over a little bit about the showdown yesterday in NFL. But give me those thumbs ups early in the morning, right? Give me those like buttons. You know how much I like those. The subscribe button, the subscribey scribes, and the notification bell, right? There's not much going on today, right? We got a baseball slate later. Grinders Live and Crunch Time will be on later today. We got the prop show for NFL. We got what scores and odds. Go subscribe to the Scores and Odds channel, right? If you want the prop pits, bets, and the shorts, I know Will is on there and Grant is on there doing shorts and whatever. So go over there while you're at it. Good morning, everyone in the chat. Wataz, Suki Singh, apparently not here in the morning. Not here early, at least. Doug Montgomery, Joe Mack, Chris Aarons, Alex Santi's here, Brett Booth, Rob Gardner, James Aguirre, Grant Brown. Rob Gardner says, good morning, Glenn. Do you know anyone that has UCL projections? Yes, we do. Yes, RotoGrinders. We have Champions League projections. I use them. We have projections for soccer for the Champions League slates and the Premier League slates. So if you could go right now. I mean, I could switch over. What do we got for Champions League today? Right, that's what I'm playing today. Right, that's the only thing I'm playing today. Understand that the projected lineups, who knows? I mean, especially these midweek games, these get updated at like 1:45 or so, 2:00 Eastern. So Alex is behind the scenes. Alex and Sean changing the projection, so you can see right here, right? We even have the tags, right? Core, salary leaf, GPP, right? Most likely, you're playing a lot of Liverpool today. The pricing is, they included the DK always includes the domestic league form into the Champions League pricing, and that kind of screws up. When Barcelona against Inter is actually a kind of a closer matchup than Barcelona recently in the Spanish league in La Liga, and Liverpool's not in very good form in the Premier League, but they have like a 2.7 implied goal total, and their players are a little too cheap. So you're going to see a lot of Liverpool. Just understand, I just want to highlight the soccer projections. I've said this before. Soccer projections are much closer to similar to baseball projections in a way that the players that are much more goal dependent have different distributions than the ones that aren't goal dependent. So, for instance, Lewandowski, 18.37 as like a median is like he doesn't like if he doesn't score any goals, he's not getting double digits, right? Like he's not going to get there. Like a lot of these projections, especially for the high implied goal scorers. So like if Lewandowski is like let's say minus 110 or something, or near even money to score anytime, well, a goal is worth like 5 points, right, on DraftKings. So like a goal is worth 10 points. So like 5 points of that is like the implied goal, right? And then how many times that he scores 2 goals in a game? So like it could be half of his points in this median is just goal odds and just goal scoring. So like there's a difference between him and let's say Dembele, who's much more likely to get like fouls drawn and crosses and stuff like more peripheral points. So less of his score is goal dependent. So that's why you have to look at Harry Kane, 14.98. Like he doesn't really do anything else other than shoot. He doesn't touch the ball. He's the closest to net. It's all wrapped up in goal scoring odds more than anything, rather than Son, who will take more than half the set pieces and be, much more active peripherally. Yeah, he has goal scoring odds also, but like Son's floor compared to Kane's floor is much higher, right? Same for Lewandowski, right? We take Lewandowski's floor is much lower than than Son, lower than Rafinha, lower than Zelensky. Like these guys have much more normal distributions, while guys like Lewandowski and Kane have much more bimodal distributions. So that's the only difference. So if you just go in and it's like, oh, I'm gonna what's the optimal lineup? Let me go into cash games. Like let me see. I'm gonna check based on our projected 11s. What would tell you is the highest median lineup? And almost always, I will look at this lineup and go, you will not see this. I will not play this in double ups, right? I'll look Salah, Lewandowski, Nielsen, Youngmin, Felipe, Sanazai, McGregor, Trent Alexander-Arnold. Like, you're not gonna see this. It's like I ain't playing this line. You're probably playing TAA. You're probably playing Samikas. You're probably playing Salah, right? Salah's in there. You're not playing Lewandowski and cash at 10.8K, right? Right. So you're probably playing Nielsen because Skov Olsen's out and he's going to take up most of the set pieces for Bruges. So at 4K, he's worthwhile from a floor perspective as a punt, but his upside is kind of capped. So maybe not, maybe you try to find someone a little bit better, goal scoring odds wise in GPP. So like that's you could use the projections. Just understand that the distributions for each player are different. Okay. And knowing soccer obviously kind of helps. Typically for DraftKings scoring, the center forwards are very bimodal, and then the wide attacking players and fullbacks that at least get up are much more normally distributed. So in GPP, you're looking for more of the bimodal players, and in cash, you're looking for more of the normally distributed players. Yeah, technically, you'd have a mix of both in a lineup for GPP, but that's kind of the difference. Like I said, it's toss up. It's toss up Tuesday. I answer anything. Right, I had a plan for the showdown, but I'll answer anything in the chat, so it doesn't matter. Right. Rob Gardner said I smashed Saturday with your building strategy. Yeah, yep. I'm one of the best DFS soccer players in the world. So yes, that's a lot of people don't realize that. It still amazes me. It's 2022. I started playing DFS October 2015, where we're like a week and a half away from my 7-year anniversary. I played only soccer for a year and a half. I mean, like that was my main sport. That was the only sport I followed. So that's why I started playing. And I've been in the lobby ever since. I don't play the small slates, the interleague slates, the Europa League stuff. I used to play because that's all I played. So I played MLS, I played Liga MX even. And even though you can't even find the lineups, I would play all the international break games and the Euro and well, now they call it I don't even know the Nations League, but the international Euro qualifiers. I did it all. I played it all. But now most of those slates are small, low prize pools, and the cash lobby is all sharp players. So like, what am I doing? Right? It's hard enough to get action in Champions League and EPL at the higher stakes without playing Saramek and Red Coat and Pew and Alex and Sean and those types. We were just flipping coins at that point. Let's see. Go through the YouTube chat. I'll talk a little bit about the Showdown. I wanted to talk a little bit about Showdown yesterday. T-Mac says, thanks for the prize picks last week. I took those winnings and purchased the RG sub with the blitz. Okay. Did I do anything? Did I do anything with prize? I don't share prize picks, but I tell you how to use the blitz in order to pick prize picks, right? Because the blitz projections are up right now, but they're not adjusted for injured players. So like I wouldn't even use them now because they still have like Patterson and Javonte Williams. And like Javonte Williams shouldn't be in the Broncos projections. So later tonight, I think Cardi takes those out. And then on Wednesday afternoon does like usage adjustments. So I would wait until later tonight and to make sure that the injured players aren't in there because Cordell Patterson ain't getting 63 yards rushing if he's not playing. Right. And then that affects the projections for all the other players on the team and the game and everything. So that's all I do. So there's no like, oh, I'm some oracle that could have the right prize picks. I went 15-6 in props on prize picks. I made a good chunk of money on 15-6 because the high value, the ones with the largest discrepancy, I make more pairs with and higher value. And the ones that don't, I make less value. So like I think all my high value pairs came in, and I hit some like five pick ones. So like I think I netted like $8,000 on prize picks going 15-6, which is pretty good. On two picks that are like $25, $50. The highest is like $75 or something like that. And I just round robin. I make a ton of them, right? So yeah, so that's what I do. So if you subscribe to RotoGrinders, you get the blitz projections, you get all these statistical projections, and then you just go on prize picks, and the ones that are the largest discrepancy, right? You need a large discrepancy for two reasons. Okay? Two reasons. They're both math reasons. On prize picks, we have fixed odds parlays. Okay? Which means you're getting paid 2-1. You're getting paid 3-1. You're winning 2-1 on a 2-pick power, right? You're getting that no matter what you pick. Okay? So to break even, each of those bets have to be minus 137, or about a 57.6% implied probability. So you need to find props that are off to make it so that the number, like if they say the number is 60, and well, the Blitz has it at 66. I'm gonna pick the over. It's like that's not enough. Like on the distribution of that stat, like 66 is only 6 points past the prop number. That's not going to get you to the 58th percentile at all, right? Even if it was the median, right? And that's the second point that I'm going to make. Okay, so you need to find ones that are much larger in discrepancy than that. Okay, rushing yard props that are a good 20-25% off, especially at the low range, right? If someone has a prop of 30 yards, and then and the blitz has 38. It's like that ain't good enough, right? You need like 45 or something there, right? And if someone has a prop of like 62 and the blitz has them at like 71, it's like that ain't enough. Like you need like 80 there. You need like something at least that, right? So you have to find those. And also you have to realize that all projections DFS wise typically are mean projections. Okay? They're not median projections, but sportsbook lines are median projections. Okay? Median means 50% of the outcomes are above it and 50% of the outcomes are below it. Okay? Mean just means an average of all of them. So like let's say here are the range of outcomes: 0, 10, 100. 0, 10, 20. Like the median of the second one is 10. The median of the first one is 10 also, but the mean is much higher for the first one, right? So mean projections, if you just use mean projections for like fantasy points, like you're going to get a larger discrepancy, especially on the overs, than you would on anything else. So you're gonna notice that if you just use mean projections, that you're gonna find that this thing is off by 10 yards over, like more than not, and that's correct from a mean standpoint, but from a median standpoint, it isn't. Median is still 50. You'll find that the mean, like someone who has a rushing yard mean of 58 has a median of 52. Right? And then you'll see the sportsbook line at like 51, right? And you go, okay, well, 58, that's 7 points higher. It's like, no, it's that for the mean, but not the median. So you have to understand the difference between mean and median. From a heuristic standpoint, right? If it's just directionally accurate, just find discrepancies that are wide, right? Just find the widest you can. If you're thinking in your head, is this wide enough? Don't take it on prize picks or underdog. Okay. If you're thinking like, is this enough? Is it enough? Then it's probably not. Right. But the ones that are really off, like the Geno Smith one from last week. Like I got that. What did I get that at? 220, I think. I got it less than that. No, I got it at 220 on prize picks, right? It closed at like 255. And the Blitz had the Geno Smith for like 290. Right. So 70 yards. Like, yeah, I don't have to worry about mean and median distinctions, or if I get to the 58th percentile, it's like that's 70 yards on a prop, on a passing prop. That's big enough. I'll take the over right there. Right. And then obviously it moves to 250, 249.5. And then a lot of the value is gone. Okay. T-Mac asks, do the discrepancies depend on the position? Yes, obviously rushing totals are much more normally distributed than passing, than than receiving totals because there's more events that happen for them. So the discrepancy for a receiving prop, for a rushing prop, have to be pretty much higher than for a receiving prop, right? In general, remember, if you're doing this for sportsbook props, you can get minus 110s, and you only have to have like a 53% break even point. But for Prize Picks and Underdog, you need a 58% break even point. So if you're doing Prize Picks and Underdog, you probably don't have to worry. You're thinking too much. Okay, don't worry about. Don't like. I'm. You should, but I'm just saying you don't even need to. Well, is this and not like, dude? It would look so ridiculous that you just take it anyway. You're going to go on Prize Picks, and they're going to go, okay, the receiving prop for this receiver is 42. And you're going to go to the Blitz, and the Blitz has him for 76. And you go, well, what happens if the prop is like, dude, that's such a large discrepancy, just go over. Just, oh, that's it. That's it. What else? What else? Heuristically, what else do you need to do? Most likely that prop by Friday is already up to 55. Okay. And then you could say, well, 55 and 76, and I don't know, like that at that point. But you're trying to find ones that are way off, and you got to get them early. That's why I stress that you got to get them early, right? You should set your alarm clock for later tonight or whatever, and you should be hammering. If you see, I even post my timestamps on Twitter. I show that, like, oh, Wednesday at midnight, right? So basically just Tuesday night. I'm doing it, Tuesday night at 11:55 p.m., right in the Wednesday morning, 12:30 in the morning. Like that's when I got pretty much all of mine in, right? I'm doing it then. Because then by the time you wait till Friday, you're going to get 5-10 yard moves on pretty much everything that you're betting on, because typically you're in the right direction. Now at sportsbooks, you have a lower break even point. That would be different. But for these, you need such wide discrepancies that they would be staring you right in the face. You'd look in the Blitz projections and go, you'd look at this. It would be something like you look and you go, Dameon Pierce has a 72 rushing as of right now. These don't matter now. And you'd look on Prize Picks and his rushing prop would be 50. And you go like, I think that's big enough, right? But if his rushing prop was 60, then you'd nope, that's not big enough. Could it be big enough? Maybe, but probably not. So you'll find this, like Jeff Wilson. Like I had a ton of Jeff Wilson over 53.5 that I got in on Wednesday. I mean, like last week. Obviously, I hit that, and that's pretty good last night. But the Blitz had his rushing yards at like 78 or something. So it's like that's a 24 yard rushing discrepancy. Like I'm just hitting it. There you go. What's the worst case scenario? That comes down a little. I mean, I'm probably way past the 58th percentile, as well as even though that's a mean rushing projection, it's the median is still, what's the median? 70? And the prop is 53.5. Like, give it to me. Okay. So like when you're doing Prize Picks and Underdog, the discrepancy should be so wide that you're not even going to have to think about, like, well, is this good enough? Is it really? Is it good? No, you're probably not. You're going to look and go, something. You're almost going to question yourself and go, why is this so low? Right? Or why is this so high? Should I like? You almost think it's like too good to be true. Like that. But hey, I've been doing that this season and been crushing. So like I think Derek Hardy's projections are extremely good. So I just go with Cardi's projections, and it's been paying off for me. Let's see. Through the YouTube chat. James Aguirre. I have a stupid question. Like I said, stupid questions are allowed. I said, right? Obviously, we're never getting to the showdown stuff. Do you base who you play on the number of lineups you enter? No. For example, I made 3 GPP lineups last week. Would you have landed on the Chargers of playing just 3 lineups? The number of lineups you play does not matter, right? The numbers that if you only played 3 lineups, I could choose 50,000 lineups. I could build 50,000 on a normal like 12 game NFL slate or something. I could build 50,000 lineups that I'd be fine with at whatever contest I'm playing. I'd look at it and go, okay, that's fine. Oh, okay, that's fine. Okay, that's fine for 50. The matter and I would view out of the 50,000, most of them where I would be about similar to each other. I'd be like that. I could close my eyes and randomly choose three, and that would be perfectly fine, right? Some are higher variance than others, right? Some are high variance lineups, some are low variance lineups, right? Some have more equity in different payout spots. They all have enough first place win equity that they're the plus EV, but from a diversification standpoint, they have different qualities, pros and cons to them. So anything about if you're playing three lineups, you're doing is considering, can I build a plus EV lineup? Yes. Can I build three of them? Yes. And how diversified do I want to be in my three lineups for this slate? And that is your own personal decision, right? That's own whatever you want to do. I played Mitch. I could play Mitch. I played Mitch Trubisky stats this Saturday with Claypool and Fryermuth and Pickens and Johnson, Garrett Wilson or Moore as a run back. They did bad. They were bad. They were high variance lineups. If I had three lineups, could I play all three lineups with Mitch? Yeah, of course I could. There would be three high variance lineups that I have to expect that if I was just playing those three lineups, that I'm gonna get zero back like 90% of the time. And then the time that it goes off, I have three shots for a lot of money. You could choose to do that. That's perfectly fine if the lineups individually are plus EV. You could say, okay, I don't want to put all my eggs on the Steelers Jets game. I'm going to do that in one lineup, and then this other lineup I'll do something else. Like the EV of the lineups are the same. If I just told you, if I didn't tell you the players, and I gave you that here's the EV of these lineups. I'm going to give you 20 lineups. Okay. Here's the EV: $1.27, $1.27, $1.27, $1.27, $1.27, $1.27, $1.27, $1.27, $1.27, $1.27, 20 of those. That is a 27 cents on the dollar, expected value over its entry fee. And let's say I even told you that the standard deviation of those lineups were all the same also, right? Right. So the variance of those lineups are still all the same. Okay, and I gave you 20, and you're like, I'm playing three. Which three do you choose? You can choose any three, and it doesn't matter. Long run, it doesn't matter. Would you choose three that all have the same the same stack in it? You could. The only reason that you wouldn't is because you're reducing for risk management purposes. That's it. If you're playing more of your bankroll percentage wise, there's probably some more emphasis that you probably should place on diversification, so you don't go broke in the long run, right? You don't end up with a downswing where you're out of money, right? If you're playing a small percentage of your bankroll, then going, dusting it up and going in and throwing an air ball on three high variance lineups, probably much more value. Your risk of ruin is still lower because you're playing less of your bankroll. But is there a correct answer? No, that's a risk tolerance. That is all risk management things. There's no correct thing. If you want, some people are more aggressive, some people aren't. Some people their bankroll could be replenished. So it's like I don't mind going broke because I could just put another $500 in. I mean, like it's all dependent on that. The expected value of the lineup is independent of that. So you're just looking to play the highest expected value lineups that you can within a reasonable variance, and that's it. That's it. And you can make thousands of lineups that are like, okay, that's good. Also, oh, that one's a fine one, right? Then which ones do you play? It's just that's diversification. That's it. That's like it's like what stock to pick. It's like you could pick 5,000 stocks, right? Like if 5,000 stocks that all look that they're going to be going up in the next 10 years, over the next 10 years. Well, how much of you have $10,000? How much do you invest in each one? You can invest all $10,000 in one stock, but just understand if the range of outcomes happens that 5 years from now your stock is down 60%, you have a 60% drawdown. Like all of your money is going in one direction. But if you have if it goes up 300%, like you would have loved to have all your money in that one stock instead of it being diversified. You're diversifying for risk management purposes, not for the highest ROI. So that's what that type of question is. So it shouldn't matter how many lineups you play. It does not matter. It matters for risk management. It doesn't matter for strategy, or it doesn't affect the expected value of your lineup at all. So the Showdown slate yesterday. I want to highlight something about the Showdown slate. Not specifically yesterday. I did fine. I had the third nut lineup in the 222. It was actually duped way more than I thought it would be because my ownership on the Giants defense and Matthew Stafford was a little too high. I had the San Francisco defense at 14%, not 18%. And I Cooper Kupp and the captain at like 26%, not 32%. So what I thought was an under 5 ended up being like an under 20. But that, as I've always said, if you're going to do dupe calculations, like your ownership really matters. Like the difference of 2 or 3% can mean the difference of a unique lineup and a lineup that's duped 5 times. So you got to be very, very careful. And there's a margin of error there. So I'm playing a bunch of lineups, and I know that some may end up being a little bit more duped. Some may end up being. Sometimes it's the other way around. Oh, I thought this guy was going to be higher owned, and he's 5% lower owned. I had it as like a dupe of 3, and it ends up being unique. Like that happens also. So that's the margin of error. I mean, that happens on any slate, on a classic slate or whatever. So last night's slate, we had a 232-way tie for first. So if we take a look, like we're not looking at the lineups or anything like that. I'm obviously in this group over here somewhere, right? Right, because I did play it in the large field, the third nut lineup, which was Kupp. Right, Kupp and the captain, no Stafford, the 4, Robbie Gold, and basically I played Robbie Gold instead of Matt Gay. Take a look at this. Okay, so if you won yesterday, if you came in first place, you won 56.55. The second best lineup, you just got $79. Right? So you take a look at all the payouts for like just having the second best, third best, the fourth best. Like very, very little. But first place was only $5,600. Remember, this is supposed to be $1 million to first. Okay, but it's a 232-way tie. So that comes out to a 5,600 payout. Now, if we take a look at players that played 150 lineups. So if you played 150 lineups into a $15 contest, that is $2,250. If you came in first place, you barely went over double your money. Like here's 150, 55.14. You put in 2250. You got like 2.3x or something by winning first place for all of your entries combined, right? So we see here 46.75, 55.14, 60.78. We go here. It's like, well, obviously no one could have made more than about $5,000 or $6,000, right? But they put in 2250. Okay, so you see here, it's like, okay, the upside is there, but look at the downside. If you didn't have that lineup, you pretty much lost like 80% of your money. You lost 70, 80% of your money, right? I mean, you take a look here, 150. All you had to do is just not hit that lineup. Because remember, we take a look at the leaderboard. Having the second best lineup only got you $79. The third best lineup only got you 46. Right? $40. Because 1 through 232 is already, all those slots are taken up already. And then split by all those people. Okay? So what is your upside by playing a lineup that is 232-way tied, especially the more lineups you're playing in the contest? You're just destroying your ROI. This is not profitable long term. The more lineups that you play. I mean, even if you play one lineup, it's not profitable long term. It's just that you're not going to live long enough for the negative to affect you. Because let's say you just played one lineup for what, $15? And you got 56.55. Like that covers your showdown lineups for the next 10 years. Right? If you play one lineup per showdown on an island game 3 times a week. Right? So if you're playing one lineup, it is still negative. It's still negative EV. But to realize the negative EV when you win once, you'll be profitable probably for playing one lineup in Showdown every slate. So if you're only playing one lineup and you say, screw it, I don't care about duplication. If you did that every day forever, you'd lose money. But from a practicality standpoint in a normal human lifespan, I don't blame people, right? I don't blame them, right? If you're playing one lineup, if you're playing more than one lineup, if you're playing 20 lineups, 50 lineups, definitely 150. These lineups you have to avoid these lineups. There's nothing. If you're playing too many of these lineups, there's no way You're going to lose a lot of money. Okay, you are. I'm telling you, you are. And the people that do dupe all the time over here, if you actually scraped all the contests, all the showdown contests, whatever, you'd see that unless they getting some type of big, they're losing a lot of money. I'm not a little bit of money. I'm talking about a lot of money. Okay, now let's go to this other. I brought up. This is from the Denver-Seattle game from earlier a couple of weeks ago. Okay, so in this contest, there was a 4-way tie for first. Okay, so each of these 4 players got $293,750, not $5,600, like nearly $300K. Okay, the next lineup was duplicated. It looks like 41 times, and they all got 3811. Right, and then look at the payouts of this compared to the other one. Right, second best lineup $79, third best lineup $46. Right, you're getting look at how many dupes are here. Here, there's less duplication, right? Yeah. This lineup is duplicated 41 times, right? But the next one is only duplicated 10. The next one is only duplicated 12. Next one is only duplicated twice. The best unique lineup is in the 117 spot. They got you $200, not $45, right? The 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, the eighth nut lineup netted $200, while the eighth lineup here, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, netted you $35. So look at all down. Even if you didn't hit the top lineup and you played 50 lineups, if you got a couple up over here, you may actually have made some money, right? Or at least not lose like 80% of your money. And we can see here, if we sort by number of entries. So like we can see here on this other one, because it'll show you the ROI. If you noticed, the ROI for most of the players that split this 5,600 or whatever the hell didn't play 150 lineups. So like 8 lineups, 19, 40, 40, 46, 10, 14, 9, 10, 12, 10, 14, 10, 11, right? Where are the 150ers here, right? Well, single bullets. Okay, that's fine. But look, there's only a 150 up here, 60, 78. And where else? That's the only one. And 100, a guy with 100, 61, 45. No uniques, right? Probably played a couple of lineups that were close to the top, right? But like you don't see anything else because it's hard to make money, right? This was essentially a double up for one. If you had the lineup and you played 150 max, it was essentially a double up, and you're playing a milli GPP. Are you that confident that your lineups are have that high win probability that you're playing this as a double up? Just play a double up. But we look here. Look at the 150. Now this is a slate where the winner was just a dupe of what, 3? Right? What was it? A 4 dupe. And then the next couple of lineups, I mean, you have plenty of uniques here. Like we have a unique, a 2 dupe, a 5 dupe, a 2 dupe. You know, we have a couple of little trades, a 40 dupe or something in there. But then we take a look at the 150ers here. And then we have some people that are like, you know, let's take a like here, 292,375. It's like, okay, they got it. They put in this was a $15 contest, $2,250, and they got back almost $300,000. Right? They put in $2,250, right? Some people didn't lose all that much, right? Third and Schlong, Dylan 125. We got some, but we see here on these 150ers, right? Most of them lost like more than half, right? 1199, 1370, 1164, 11650, 10, 1710. So look at how many 150ers like lost. Look, Peter Given, Court Jesters, Dalladino, The Mish, right? Keep Calm Until Dawn, Dark Maniluck, Mr. Good Seats, Danny Ohms, DFS Hofbrow King, right? Sassin, like these are people that are good. A Hubro. So 1,000 to 50% loss plus on these. But let's take a look at this now. At the one from yesterday with the heavy duplicated lineup that won. Let's take a look at 150ers. Like either you had that lineup and you doubled up or you lost about the same, right? Shrek, 1840 loss. Locks, minus 1630. RBX 88, minus 1145. Right? Dark Maniloc, minus 1760. Royal Paid, minus 1075. Ricky D, minus 2000. Rich Greed, minus 1475. I Sloof at you, minus 1900. Like these losses are not that much different than the losses on a slate where a more unique lineup, a less duplicated lineup won. That's what it's going to be for if you're maxing 150, that's what it's going to be normally. Most slates, you're going to lose 50 to 60% of your entry fees. No matter how duplicated the winning lineup is. Okay? So let's say if you had 150, would you be playing duplicate? Like, okay, I could play 150 lineups, all of them duplicated 50 to 100 times, and I either put in 2250 and get back 6,000, 5 to 6,000, or I put or I'll lose $1,000 or $1,200. Or I could put in 150 that are duped under 5 at least, right? Under 10 at least. And either one of them comes in first and I get $100,000, $200,000, $50,000. Or my downside is that I lose $1,000, $1,500. Like the downsides of both are about the same. The upsides of both are dramatically different. So why the hell would you be building lineups that are over, over 50 dupes, 20 dupes, even? Like the downside is if you do not have the winning lineup in Showdown, most likely you lose money on the slate. Unless it's a weird slate where first is unique and second is unique and third is like something like that, where you can come in third uniquely and make a bunch of money also. So when people are talking about it, it's like, oh, no, I don't care about duplication. I'm just going to build 150 lineups, and who cares if it's over 20s? Imagine doing that over the course of 50, 100 slates, 200 slates. The win probabilities of each lineups have not changed. The only difference is how much you get paid based on how many other people are playing them. So if I told you that, okay, on this slate, you're either going to take a minus 60% loss or you're going to triple your money, 2.2x your money, 2.5x your money. Or I give you the choice of you can play 150 different lineups. You're either going to lose 60% or you're going to like 100x your money. Which one would you take? Like the second one, obviously. Like the probabilities have not changed. So playing these heavily duplicated lineups, especially the more and more lineups that you play, like simulate that out. Do that in Excel. You can do that in Excel. Do it in Python. The computer programming people. Sim that out. Sim that thing out. You'll see that like you're gonna lose a ton of money. Yeah. Oh yay! I won 5 showdowns this season. Playing 150 lineups, right? You won 5, 6 showdowns. Playing 150 lineups, and at the end of the season, you're down 12%. You're down probably more than that, 20, 25%. Yeah, but you won 5 of them. You're down anyway. If you didn't win, you're either going to win $5,000 to $10,000 or you're going to lose the same amount no matter what. But your shot at uniquely getting $1 million is 0 because you're playing no unique lineups, right? And even the ones for like getting at $100,000, some of these 150 sets have no under 10s. So it's like you can't even get $100,000 by splitting first place, right? Some of these sets have lineups where the top lineup could get 15,000 at most. But your downside is about the same. So why are you playing duplicated lineups or heavily duplicated lineups? Doesn't mean you have to play all uniques, right? It doesn't have to be all the way on the other end of the spectrum where, I'm going to leave $15,000 on the table and play 3 $200 guys. Like, dude, those lineups have such low win probabilities. You probably shouldn't be playing those either, even though they are unique. That's why I say getting under 5s. And in these big ones, these milli types, even under 10s, fine. Under 10s. But like I said before, if you're just playing one lineup, this still applies because the scale still applies, right? A $15 lineup that is duped like as often as that is probably only worth $11. It's probably still only worth $11, $12. You're still losing money in the long run. But if you're only playing one lineup a slate and you win $5,000 once, like what's $5,000 divided by 15? That'll last you another 333 showdown slates. Let's say you play them all, 50, play 50 a season. I mean, you're talking about 6+ seasons worth of showdown slates. If you played 10 seasons worth of showdown slates, even playing one lineup, you'd probably end up, you'd be like, oh, well, I won that one. And now after 10 years, I'm actually down like a couple of percent. Like it will end up happening. It's just that it's a much longer time frame now. But if you're playing 150, dude, there are people. There are people. Go study. I'm not making stuff up. Go download the CSVs from last year. There was one person last year that won Showdown 9 times and lost money. Okay? 9 times and lost money. Okay? So put things into perspective. 9 times and lost money. Because you play way too many. Yeah. The 9 times they won were the 100, 200 train, 300. There was one like 470 something train win, quote unquote win, 9 times and lost money. So that I'm the purpose of this show is to help you be good DFS players. I don't want that. Truthfully, if you're going to play 150, I want you to play dupes. If any sharp player would tell you, I wouldn't want people to get better, right? I shouldn't want you to get better, but the purpose of this show is to help you. DFIC, out of 150, does it make sense to allocate 5 to 10% of lineups to highly probable, highly duped, and the rest to low dupes? No, that lowers your expected value. You'd only be doing that for risk management purposes. Okay, so understand there's a trade-off, right? Going heavily, I'm going to go way off the board, have tons of completely unique lineups. Your chances of going minus 95% on the slate are much higher. But if you don't go minus 95%, you're going to win $1 million. Right, you're going to win $550,000 or something. That's a high variance portfolio. If you want to mix in, maybe not highly dupe lineups, but if you want to throw in, it's like I maximize for under 5s, for instance. I don't care about uniques. I care about under 5s or even under 10s. If I can get most of my lineups under 10 for these milli types, I think I'm fine. I'd rather get them to under 5s, but that's fine. And most of the time, as long as my ownership is good, I can play 50 lineups. And remember, I'm not playing 150 either, right? And I'm more likely to play more lineups on slates where it's easier to get unique. The more cheapies on the bottom, the more spread out the ball is, more viable players, I play more lineups. The less viable players, I play less lineups because it'll be much harder to get less duplicated lineups. So if I'm playing 50 lineups, most slates I play 50, I end up with like 42 under 5s, 6 under 10s, and 2 that end up being like a 24 dupe or so. Like there's some margin of error there that I end up with a lineup that sometimes I'm on a train. Sometimes that lineup I 168 ways. And just like, I don't know how I ended up with that. Right? It just happened. Mistake. That's a mistake. I don't mean for that to happen, but it happens. So that's what my portfolio tends to look like. If you want to lower your risk in general, but you're not lowering it that much. Remember, I just showed you that your losses are going to be close enough if you don't hit the nut lineup, that why not go for the nut lineup as uniquely as you can? If the losses are going to be the same, pretty much close enough anyway. They'll be lower, I get it. They will be low. If you're like, oh, 10% of my lineups, I'm just going to play like the dupe train, 400 way, whatever. It's like you could do that, but there are win probability lineups that are similar to that lineup that aren't duped 400 times. They're duped 20 times. So like the win probability of that lineup doesn't warrant being 20 times more duplicated. So you shouldn't be playing those lineups. You can find ones that are at least 20, right? That's fine. 50, still better than 400, right? Once you get to that extent, there are lineups that shouldn't be that duplicated, right? You get to a point, there's an equilibrium. It's just like anything else. How many times should this lineup how should it be played? Nerdy Tanner was here, he'd tell us. You go based on his supercomputer, right? Right, his algorithm, whatever he uses, right? He'd tell us, you go, okay, that lineup was supposed in equilibrium. This lineup that won with a 232-way tie should have only been used 138 times, right? And because it was over 138, now you're in a negative EV land. He'd be able to tell you that. So there may be some lineups that are duped 42 times that should be duped 68 times. So playing it on a 42 dupe train would be plus EV technically, yes, right? But you'd have to know those numbers. You'd have to know what it is. And typically, once you get up to the range where it's duped 200 way ties, it's over. It's over. It's over. Matt Mears says, with the payout structures the way they are, it almost gets to the point that it isn't worth playing the large field showdown with any serious volume. Dupe lineups at the top just kill the payouts. That's correct. And the more and more likely that a dupe lineup wins, the less lineups you should really even be playing. I don't think playing 115 in this contest is necessarily the best for your bankroll. Unless you're really, really good at it. You need a very significant bankroll to do so. That's the main reason why I don't play 150 lineups in Showdown. Smooth Jimmy Apollo. Hey, Blender, you know of any way of researching top players' FanDuel lineups? No. I mean, you can't get the CSV downloads. They're tech. I don't want to say there isn't a way. The two ways to do it are, one, do everything manually. So you have to just click around. That's what you'd have to do. Click around. You cut and paste, right? You click to the lineup and you drag your mouse and you cut it and you do that for all the lineups. Like, good luck doing that, right? You're spending all week doing that. You could also scrape that information. The problem with scraping is that FanDuel has very good bot protection, so it's very, very, very tough to do. I can't do it, but I do know people that can. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. I do know someone that has FanDuel information. That's not through an API. That's through scraping. So they're technically, I would say, do you know of anyone? Yes, I know I can't do that. But I know it could be done. Rob Gardner, Blender, do you know how the rule at DraftKings works where you no longer have access to below $5 contests? Is it total profit or entries? Does this rule change out game selection? Yeah, it's in the community guidelines. If you go to DraftKings site, it literally lists it. Like, that's all you have to do is. It's kind of weird how you could just like Google the stuff and go and see. You can't play contests. I mean, I'll go to the community guidelines right now. DraftKings community guidelines. Let's see. Acceptable behaviors. Okay, where fantasy fair play commitment, fair playing field. Yeah, here you go. Contest eligibility. The highest volume players are ineligible to enter contests if the entry fee is less than $3. They are also ineligible to enter contests when the entry fee is less than $5 if the prize pool is less than $25,000. All contests with an entry fee less than $5 are 20 entries max, with the special exception of mini max contests. So if the prize pool, the $3 play action in NFL with the $100,000 prize, whatever prize pool, I could still play that because it's not under $25,000 of the prize pool. Anything under $3, the $2 and $1 contest, I can't even see. If you're past it, typically, from what I've been told, it's 1 million in total entries. $1 million in total entries. Although I've also been told that's one of the guidelines. It could profit / there's some formula that they use. But from what I've been told a while ago, I've been past that point for 3 years, so 2.5 years or whatever. So if you have $1 million in entries, not winnings, just entries, there's nothing that says the Rob. There's nothing that DraftKings doesn't share that information. They just said the highest volume players, but you could always just like email support. Obviously, contacting someone from DraftKings rather than someone that does not work for DraftKings would probably be the best way to find the answer of a DraftKings product. Rob Gardner asks, so the question, while I have access, game selection is even more important. Do I maximize my EV while I have access? Yes. If I still could see the low stakes contest, I would only be playing. I would max out as much volume as possible at that level. You're removing like the top 100 RotoGrinders ranked players, the top 500 RotoGrinders ranked players from those contests. Look at all those 150 maxers in the quarter arcade. That they're not me. They're not Awesome-mo, right? They're not those guys, right? They're not playing those, right? So those are a lot of good lineups that are no longer there. I'm not saying there aren't good players down in the low stakes. There are plenty of good players in the low stakes, right? They don't show up on the RotoGrinders rankings because it's not high vol. It's not, dollar amount is low. There's still plenty of good players down there, but you're eliminating like so many lineups that could be in that contest that aren't. Or the $1 double ups, $2 double ups. Like, you're not playing against me or McLovin or Empire Maker or anyone like that. Playing against other people. I can't even see that lobby. I can't even see. So you should be. If you're only playing like $300 worth of volume on a slate, like, you could easily never play a contest that's over $3. Right? You could just easily max that. You could probably do that up to like $700-800, right? Because you're playing GPP, so maybe you're maxing the quarter arcade, the $1 single entries, but you're also playing $51 head-to-heads, $52 head-to-heads, and $53 head-to-heads, right? So that's $50 plus 100 plus 150, right? So that's $300 just in head-to-heads. Then maybe you're playing another $200 in double ups and triple ups. That's $500. Then you're maxing out all the GPP. Yeah, maybe you could even get up to about $1,000 in volume, possibly. Probably you get 700, right? Get something up to there. So if you're playing up to $1,000 worth of volume on a slate, and you're still eligible for the low stakes contest, that's literally what I'd be doing. I wouldn't even concern myself with anything above the threshold. There's a $3 contest with the less than $25,000 prize pool. Yeah, I'd be playing that also. You're going to get the highest ROI there. And then when you move up, you're going to see your ROI go down. So if you're still eligible for that, just stay there until you get $1 million worth of it. Stay there until they tell you can't. Right? If you can't beat those contests, what do you expect to beat the ones that are higher? Right? So that it's inevitable as it is. Well, I don't want to play the low stakes. I want to go for $1 million or like that. Then you're not playing. You're playing for entertainment, and you're not playing for money. You're not playing to make money as the primary driver to increase your ROI. No, you should be able to crush. If you're good, you should be able to crush. When people say, "Oh, it's like, oh, I don't play the quarter arcade. I play the whatever." It's like, the $15 large field. It's like, well, what's your ROI in that? Well, I'm negative. So why don't you just play the quarter arcade, right? Well, it's not enough money. Well, then you're not playing to make money. If you were good enough to beat the $15 large field, you're good enough to beat the minimax, $1 minimax, the quarter arcade. I'm playing the double ups and head to heads at $5, $10, $25. I have a minus 8% ROI. Like, dude, then go down and play the dollar. If you're eligible, play the dollar head to heads. Oh, but then I don't want to play for just a little bit amount of money. Well, if you can't beat the $1 one, you'd make money. If you were good enough, you'd make money, enough money in the low stakes that it's worth more than minus 8% in the higher stakes. Like, that makes no sense. The number one thing, as I say in the course, right? Theory of Daily Fantasy Sports, the new advanced course is out right now. How to apply profitable DFS strategies for advanced players. It comes with Microsoft Excel tools. It comes 6 hours, 10 chapters of audio. I'd pick it up. It's tools that I use. These Excel tools I have open almost all the time. I use them all the time. Theoryofdfs.com. But as I say here, the number one factor that is reflected on your ROI is the skill level, the relative skill level between you and your opponents. That's it. Who will win more in one-on-one basketball? Me or LeBron James? Well, just looking at that in the vacuum, we go, well, obviously LeBron James. Me? I can hit some layups, maybe. Not that mobile. I ain't going to play much defense, right? You'd say LeBron. Yeah, but what happens if it's LeBron versus Damian Lillard? What happens if it's LeBron versus Giannis? What happens if it's LeBron versus another NBA All-Star? And then it's me versus a 4-year-old kid in a wheelchair. I need to put in the wheelchair because I don't know if I could beat the 4-year-old kid even if he could run around a little too much, right? So in a wheelchair. Like, you take me in a wheelchair. If you were to bet $100 on who's going to win, right? The discrepancy in skill between a 43-year-old man and a 4-year-old in a wheelchair, a blind 4-year-old. We have to we have to get it down even more. So not only can they not run around, but can't even see where the basket is. Okay, so so it's LeBron versus another NBA All-Star. And then it's me, 43-year-old man, in a one-on-one game against a blind 4-year-old in a wheelchair. Like, and it's $100 even money bet. Like, you'd take me. You wouldn't take LeBron. That who knows? Who knows? I mean, that could happen. Most likely, I'm gonna win against the blind 4-year-old in a wheelchair. Probably 99% of the time. Okay, probably. I'm not even guaranteeing that, but probably. Right. So it just matters the relative skill level. If it's LeBron versus the blind 4-year-old in a wheelchair, then that's obvious. But if he's going to win 100% of the time, and I'm going to win 99.9% of the time, but if he doesn't get access to play the blind 4-year-old in a wheelchair, you get to do that at the Quarter Arcade. There may be a lot of blind 4-year-olds in wheelchairs playing, as opposed to the higher stakes past there. Then you get more good players. That's what you should be doing. And you should be getting the Theory of Daily Fantasy Sports for advanced players. 10 chapters of audio, all the Excel tools that are updated. Like James does update. Adds little features, little UI improvements, gets feedback from people. Like he provides development support. Guide you through. We have tutorials on how to even use them. It's Excel. It's cut and paste. Trust me, it's not complicated. Right? Anyone, if you have Excel, you just have to have Excel and just cutting and pasting and pressing buttons. That's about it. You don't need to do it. You don't really need to do anything. You don't need to learn computer programming. You don't need to do any of that. You don't have to know math formulas or anything. You just have to understand blunt methodologies and basic statistical and probability concepts. And I teach that in this course. So go to theoryofdfs.com and pick that up. And hit that like button on your way out the door. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the notification bell. We got Grinders live later today. Crunch Time, which has been free all season. Brought to you by FanDuel. And we'll have basketball back in 2 weeks. Basketball's back. NBA is back. Can't wait. Can't wait to talk about something at 11 a.m. and for it to mean absolutely nothing at 7. Right? Who do we play today? No clue until 17 people are out. And it's 6:45, and you're struggling to change your lineups yet again. Can't wait. You can tell the sarcasm in my voice. Cannot wait, but I'll be here for you, right? I'm always here answering your DFS strategy questions Monday through Friday at 11 o'clock Eastern on the DFS pregame show on RotoGrinders.com.